Good to start? Merci. Bonjour tout le monde. Hi everyone. Hello. Thanks for joining. Hi everyone. Appreciate your support. Thanks for coming out today. How's everyone feeling? Hot? Il fait très chaud. Pro tip, if you got one of those bags at the front, they have a fan inside, so definitely make good use of it. So I just want to say hello. My name's Gabriel. I'm founder and player zero of what we call a coordination game called Mochi. We're a decentralized team that's of 8 rice levers spread across 5 different cities, and we're building the next generation of coordination games to help DAOs stick together. So today I'll talk to you a little bit about what it means to make DAOs stickier. So first, I want to just make a bold statement. DAOs are the future of world building. In the next 10 years, the most innovative and disruptive organizations on Earth will be decentralized and autonomous. Every community will have its own token, and the Fortune 500 companies of the future will all have tokenized treasuries. But if you're at ETHCC, you already know that. You probably already know also how difficult it is to coordinate online. Web 2 has made it easier for us to communicate, but at the same time, it's extremely noisy and becoming impossible to stay focused. We are a generation that is constantly on the move. Staying in sync in a remote environment is a constant pain. It's easy to say yes to things, but hard to follow through. And this lack of commitment is quickly becoming the biggest invisible cost to organizations everywhere. Every organization on the planet, be it a company, a community, or a DAO, will suffer increasing rates of burnout and churn as time goes on. Humanity is in dire need of new ways to coordinate in a world that's becoming increasingly remote. So enter Mochi. Mochi is the first coordination game of its kind that helps DAOs and decentralized teams stick together. Whether your company, community, or DAO gathers in Discord or Slack, you can play Mochi to create teams, set goals, share insights, and earn tokens. Our mantra is to dream big and start small. So how does it work? First, Mochi is a game. Like any arcade game, you play Mochi with tokens. When a player starts their first journey, we ask that you commit to your goal by staking Ether. We call this bonding with Mochi. The goal can be something simple, running, stretching, meditating, or as complex as building a new feature for your product. Players join teams of up to 4, and each day, players share their progress on their goals by submitting 2-minute check-ins called Pearls of Wisdom. Pearls of Wisdom appear in a public channel where everyone can see what's happening inside of your organization. A successful check-in earns you Mochi tokens. The more that you stake, the more that you earn. But a late check-in results in what we call a slash. A slash causes a player to lose a percentage of their Ether and their bonded tokens. These tokens will go to a shared community treasury, which can then be used for whatever the community wants. In short, Mochi is a game that empowers emergent coordination. We use a mix of social, financial, and emotional incentives to keep things stuck together. So what does Stickiness look like? Well, in our community, Stickiness looks like 6 new Mochi member cohorts, over 100 teams, and 245 players. Active members play at least 2 8-week journeys per year, which has generated over 12,500 check-ins and 50 ETH bonded in the last 2 years of play. Stickiness can be summed up in a check-in ratio, or your Pearl of Wisdom score. Mochi maintains an almost 90% Pearl of Wisdom score community-wide, which means that 4 out of 5 days a week, our community members show up to play. Together, we've used Mochi to tackle over 400 personal development goals in our community alone. We've spawned new communities dedicated to helping women find jobs in Web 3, encouraging artists to make music, and so much more. We've published 2 NFT zines, hosted countless dance parties, and spurred several trips around the world, all with a small decentralized team with no middle management. We want to play Mochi alongside you and your DAO, startup, or virtual community. Anyone that's looking for fun new ways to coordinate online is a friend of Mochi's. We have 12 communities already playing Mochi to coordinate their members, including SheFi, Pleaser DAO, Metacartel, and 2+, and we're well on our way to doubling our partners in the next month. Communities that play Mochi spend less time voting and more time connecting, which is what DAOs truly are really about. So first, I'd really like to highlight the beautiful work that's being done by our friends over at SheFi. So SheFi empowers women to unlock financial freedom through crypto education, experimentation, and community. SheFi has onboarded over 400 women and non-binary folks through a crypto bootcamp that takes place over 12 weeks, where women from all walks of Web3 learn the language of DeFi and experiment in community. Many SheFiers are actively looking to make career transitions into Web3, but have found that after completing the course, they need something to point to show off everything that they've learned. So over the last 4 weeks, we've worked with a team of 5 women over at SheFi to create a post-grad career program that uses Mochi to do deep dives into new protocols. So these women decided to look at the emerging space of regenerative finance and chose us their first project, the Toucan Protocol. SheFiers in 4 different cities worked together to break down the complexities of the carbon credit market and publish their analysis on the Toucan Protocol today on mirror.xyz. I invite you to check out this work. They did a tremendous job on this piece, and I highly, highly encourage you to see how impressive the women of SheFi are by following this link. The second community that I would really love to highlight is Campfire. So Campfire is a 100-strong Web3 artist union that spawned a little over a month ago from nothing but a single tweet by an artist named TK, who's an incredible singer, songwriter, and producer based in Los Angeles and was also a member of Mochi's 3rd cohort. Campfire decided that they wanted to get musicians together and help each other make music every single day. So they decided to use Mochi at the very inception of the community to keep each other working towards a common goal. Over 4 weeks, 18 artists gathered around a campfire to work on songwriting, recording, sound design, making sample packs, and so much more. Artists that set small, measurable goals like making a song every week were very successful in their journeys. I want to read to you a quote by something an artist recently wrote about Mochi. My Mochi journey was actually incredibly successful. I thrive off of accountability and being challenged, so this was the perfect tool for me. Being consistently creative as an artist is important to me, and I'm realizing more now after participating in Mochi that creativity doesn't have to last for hours. It doesn't even have to be an hour. You set a time, at least 20 minutes a day, to work on these creative muscles, and it'll keep you sharp and takes the pressure off of doing so much at once. I'm sharing these stories with you because I want to show you that Mochi can be stretched or smushed together to fit any organizational shape. There are even more mind-bending use cases that we're secretly experimenting with at Mochi, like teaching lucid dreaming and training artificial intelligence. We have just one guiding principle at Mochi, which is that simple, repeatable patterns lead to higher order complexity. As we continue to play Mochi together, your pearls of wisdom will help us spread our tokens far and wide. You can spend these tokens on in-game items for a living, breathing, Tamagotchi-style avatar, as you can see here on the screen. Mochi players can also use these tokens to mod the community-owned protocol. You can change the token rewards, the slash rates, and a percentage that goes back to the treasury. Currently, 20% of every slash goes back to the Mochi protocol. And that's all fun, but here's the secret sauce. Soon, you will be able to play Mochi with your own token. It's a constant work in progress, like every community is. Sometimes we fall short of our goals, and that's okay. At Mochi, we can turn those negatives into a positive. Every DAO that plays Mochi with its own token will eventually help seed a diverse treasury that grows and stabilizes the Mochi token over time. Think of Mochi as a DAO index, or a basket full of coins. Together, we can use that shared treasury to not only improve the game, but grow one another as a community over time. We're looking to spawn the next 1,000 sticky DAOs that use coordination games like Mochi to stick together. If you're looking to be a part of the next generation of coordinated play, I invite you to follow our journey on Twitter and come find us at the conference. I'm usually wearing some funny pants, and this is one pair of them. I have them in every single color. At Mochi, our dream is to create a world where we can all share in the bonds of each other's success. The future of the world is quite literally at stake. And with that, I'm wishing you a fruitful stay in Paris and reminding you to dream big, start small, stick together. Thank you for your time, and I would love to invite any questions that you might have. Otherwise, merci beaucoup.
So what prevents you from just automating the checking process?
What prevents you?
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's like a Sybil attack, basically, on...
No, not a Sybil attack, but since you have some penalty for not checking in time, I could just make a bot which is just checking at every time I need to check.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So there's a couple things that we can do, but I can tell you the thing that's already built into the protocol today, which is that there is a risk of loss, basically, if you're playing Mochi, when you're staking your ether on the back end, for example. So say you're a community that's playing Mochi and you have your own set of goals that you're working on with your community, and you're staking, I don't know, 10 ETH at play amongst your community. That ETH can actually be moved on the back end to stake on protocols, because one of the ideas for making Mochi a more sustainable protocol is to be able to earn return while people are getting their stuff done, basically. So you're staking your ether, you're working on your things, And then we are also on the back end managing some kind of treasury that will earn a return basically for you. So you're making money, getting your things done. So there's also a risk of loss, right? You're effectively entrusting the Mochi protocol and the community that eventually will kind of govern that protocol to make you a return and return that crypto when it's your time to withdraw or something like that. You could automate these things, but I would say it's a long-term kind of unprofitable and very risky to maybe do that. The second thing that we would implement over time is something that kind of looks like an audit process. So I'm a recovering accountant. I used to be a CPA, and I was Big Four before I worked in the crypto space. And a lot of the work that I did was auditing financial systems and looking for kind of bogey entries into financial records of accounting companies or companies that have their internal accounting. And we can basically create a system that samples and kind of effectively looks for different kind of bogey reports, identifies them, and then we would penalize that whenever we would find them. So I'd say those are the two ways that we kind of hedge for that risk.
Well, if you're looking at patterns, even the checking bot could be more or less random, and could also be random following human patterns. Like you can find like the human distribution of checking, and you modelize that, and then you randomly draw checking from this distribution. Yep. And in this case, the model that you are using will not be able to find that.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little bit more into the mic? Yeah.
If you are looking for inconsistency in the checking, if I make a bot which is like a naive checking bot, which is always checking at the same time, you will probably find it.
Yes.
But now I can make a bot which is slightly more complex, where I can look at other users and like their checking patterns and like establish a density for each time of the day, so likelihood to check at this particular time, and then I can draw my checking from this particular distribution, and in this case your accounting system will not be able to distinguish between illegitimate activity and legitimate activity, and that's actually quite a hard problem. Crazy rich company like Twitter or Facebook are trying to distinguish between legitimate activity and bot activities, and they are not really winning at it. So how would a small project be able to kind of like solve this issue?
It's an excellent point. You're very clever, and I can tell you're very much a hacker. This is why you belong at ETC. It is a very hard problem. I don't have a perfect answer for you. What I would say is I think there's something of an assumption underneath it, which is that you're kind of setting this and you're letting people do their thing, and nobody's ever like really checking on them, and it's kind of something that runs itself. The way that I envision DAOs and think about DAOs, and like kind of going back to I think what was the original idea of the DAO when this concept started coming out, it was like these like headless AI kind of like killer organizations that are training making decisions off of prediction markets and stuff. I don't think that version of the DAO has come to fruition, and thank God it hasn't. What I hope that we build together as a community are systems and protocols that help us augment and reduce the cost of management and not completely eliminate it. And I think this is something that can help bring transparency, and while it's not perfect, we would hope that in the places where it's not perfect, humans can kind of step in where needed to correct for those things. So I wish I had a better answer for you. I think we'll walk that path when we get there. Anyone else? Thank you. Merci.